Clinton family, and to our guests, thank you again for joining us for our Beacon Forum for today. Again, this is another opportunity for us to learn together from today's greatest minds and successful people in different industries. So again, we say welcome to Clinton College, and we look forward to a wonderful day of new wisdom. We will open up with our invocation today from Tatiana Smith.
Good morning, Clinton family. Please join me in prayer. Thank you, Lord, for watching over our families, friends, and Clinton College campus. Thank you for what you've done in our lives and what you will continue to do in our lives. Thank you for this day. In your name I pray. Amen.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening sky. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. So let us march on till victory is won. Let's go. March on. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn and died. But yet with the steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come over a way that with tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughter, out from the gloomy past, till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light, to keep us forever in the path we pray. Bless our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met thee. Bless our hearts drunk with the wine of the world, we forget thee. Shadow beneath thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native land. Yeah, true to our God, true to our native land. Oh, da da da, true to our God, our native land. True to our God, true to our native land.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners, will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood? I have a dream.
I do. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tanya Johnson Charles, and it is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce our speaker for today. Tanya L Hicks is the president and CEO of Power Solutions Incorporation and the managing principal of Women Do Everything LLC. Ms. Hicks is a serial entrepreneur and journeyman wireman electrician in the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, also known as IBEW. She became the first woman to become a journeyman wireman in local 917 of IBEW in her hometown of Meriden, Mississippi. She is the first African-American woman to become an IBEW journeyman electrician in the state of Mississippi. Ms. Hicks specializes in robotics, building automation, and high voltage equipment installation and repair. In 2000, at the age of 28, Ms. Hicks founded Power Solutions Incorporation, an electrical contracting and facility maintenance company specializing in renewable energy, sustainability, and smart city technology. In 2015, Ms. Hicks launched Women Do Everything LLC, a workforce development and technology company helping women to thrive in male-dominating industries through employment or entrepreneurship. In November of 2019, Ms. Hicks was featured in Forbes Japan for expanding her business in Singapore and the New York Times for her progress as a tradeswoman and business owner in the construction industry. Ms. Hicks is a leadership Atlanta class of 2022 alumni and a sustainability ambassador for the city of Atlanta. Tanya is a graduate of the inaugural classes of the City of Atlanta Women's Entrepreneurship Initiative, also known as WEI. Women Expert University by UPS, Export University by UPS, the Bridge Accelerator by Microsoft, and the African Diaspora Network, ABLE program. Ms. Hicks has received several honors and awards, but most importantly, she's proud to be called mom by her sons Rashidim and Vincent. Ms. Hicks enjoys golf, cooking, gardening, and volunteering on community projects. Clinton College family, please join me in welcoming our guest speaker today, joining us from Atlanta, Georgia, Ms. Tanya Hicks.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm so happy to be with you all today. I wish I was there in person because I'm more of an in-person type of speaker. But due to technology, we're able to come together today and to talk a little bit about what I do, where I come from. And I didn't know she was going to read my whole bio. But yeah, it's still hard to even listen to some of the things that you have done because it takes you all the way back. Well, I was born in Meriden, Mississippi. That's where I'm from. And as a young kid, my mom had me at a young age. And so my mom is the only girl with 5 brothers. And so I spent a lot of time with my uncles. And one in particular is my Uncle Melvin. He is a mechanical, like an industrial engineer, an industrial mechanic. And he would work on cars and stuff after he got off work. And I was one of the people, I was always there wanting to pass him his tools, and he'll allow me to do stuff. And so even though I was a girly girl, that's the kind of stuff I like to do. And because I love fixing stuff. And so I was going to, after I graduated from high school, I went to Central State University in Wilberforce, Ohio, to pursue. I wanted to be a mathematician. I know many of you have saw like Hidden Figures. I wanted to be a mathematician as well, but I wanted to work for the CIA and FBI, helping them to crack codes through calculations and stuff. And at the end of my sophomore year, one of my professors told me, and I told him what I was going to do, and he was like, "They don't hire women to do that. You need to focus on being a great math teacher." And in my family, mostly the women are teachers or nurses. I didn't want to be a teacher. And I remember coming home to my grandmama, and I was telling my grandma, I was like, "My professor said they don't hire women to do that." And my grandmother said, "That man don't know what he's talking about." She said, "Women do everything. We just never get the credit or make the money." And as you know, I have a company now called Women Do Everything, inspired by that statement from my grandmother. And so that summer, I worked on a construction site as a laborer to make money before I went back to school. And we were at a paper mill, and I saw the electricians using math and doing calculations and stuff. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. I didn't even know it was hard. So I was like 19 years old. I didn't know it was going to be hard or none of that. I just decided, I don't want to be no teacher. I'm going to do this. But I had to find a way how to do it for free, because I was on a math scholarship, and how to break it to my grandma and them I wasn't going back to school. And I found out that the IBEW was taking in apprentices, because it takes 5 years to become an electrician. But they paid you at the same time. And so I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And so I broke the news to them. I was like the black sheep of the family for a minute, because they were just like, they couldn't even understand why you want to do this, because it's so hard, and you're going to be out there with all those men, and mostly all the job sites. I was the only woman there, but I didn't really it didn't feel like I was alone as a woman, because in my family, we have more men in my family than we have women. And so I was used to being around the guys all anyway. And so when men would be on the job site, cutting up, cussing, or acting a fool, I'll still be working. And it was like, that don't bother you. But it was kind of like being at home. So I didn't think anything about it. I didn't know anything about, I knew, of course, being in Mississippi, you grow up with racism, and we live separately. Like, you have the white side of town and the black side of town. And it's no, we want to come together. It's not like that. It's like we celebrate being with our own. So I never had an expectation for the white men to treat me fairly, or to help me, or to assist me, or anything. So I never had that expectation of them, because we grow up, knowing what the racial biases are and everything that we have to deal with. And we even grow up with some distrust of white people because of where I come from. My grandfather was killed by the Ku Klux Klan. He was stabbed 62 times, and they slit his throat. And his death is still listed as a suicide, like many other people from that era, from the civil rights era. But that's listed as a suicide was a way for them to get away with it. So I came into this industry, which is predominantly white men, knowing I was going to face opposition, but my uncles prepared me for that. And they always told me, you're better than them. You're smarter than them. And so I knew I had to be 10 times better to be creative, to be even considered equal to them. And so, make a long story short, I ran circles around them. It's like I was always steps and steps ahead. I was far advanced in my class. And I remember, after a few years, when they saw I wasn't going to leave, because they wanted to try to starve me to keep me from pursuing and advancing to the next year. And so what they do is they try to, what they call starve you, is they tell you there's no work for you. And you can only advance if you got so many work hours as an apprentice to the next level. And so I would call to Alabama, Arkansas, wherever I could to get on jobs to make sure I had my work hours. And I would still have to travel all the way home. I remember having to travel home like 8 hours just to make it to class, to make it to my weekly classes. And so I can't say it wasn't, it was definitely tough, but I was just so focused on what I was going to do. And it's like I refused to allow them to break me. And so a few months before it was time for me to graduate, they graduated me early, so I wouldn't graduate with my class, and they wouldn't allow me to be in the pictures. So they did not even want me to be in the pictures with my class saying that I graduated, because I was the first woman in my logo. And for the first woman to be a Black woman, because 3 white women failed before, it was really, really, they hated that. But I really didn't care. I was like, I graduated and I could go anywhere, because it's the international, anywhere abroad and in the U.S., and work as a journeyman. And journeymen are considered like the elite electricians, because, like I said, it takes 5 years. It's a little tough, but still, it's to me, it's harder keeping kids to be honest. It's like, it's not, I really feel like it's nothing that we can't do if we put our minds to it. As Black people, we are the original engineers, architects. And if you look at the pyramids, and so we have no issues with STEM. That to me is totally based on exposure. Because I was exposed as a child to mechanical things, it just grew in me. And so once I got to Atlanta, I worked for a couple of years, and I would always tell everybody what to do on the job, even as an apprentice. I don't know, this is just what we do. And I would lay the guys, I was like, John, don't go over there. You don't know how to do that. You get over there and then let Michael do that, so we can go ahead and get so even though I wasn't the foreman, I was always running stuff. And the foremen would be like, well, yeah, that do make sense. And they just let me. And I remember a man coming over to me. He said, you don't run the jobs all the time. You might as well own your own company. And I was like, and I went home thinking about it. And I came back to work the next day. And I told in front of everybody, I was like, y'all can send my check to the house. I'm going to own my own company. And I remember all the men laughing at me. It was probably like 20-something guys. They all laughed at me. And they was like, yeah, the only way you're going to get business is if you're Black and you're a woman. And, with affirmative action and, those kind of things. And so I was like, don't worry about it. Y'all all going to be working for me. Because I was always, if they gave it to me, I gave it to them back. It's like I never would allow them to crush my spirit, or even any of the things that they would say to rent space in my mind. It was like, so it was so funny. So for the first 15 years of my business, people didn't even know I was a woman. It's like I hid in plain sight. And so I remember one man thought I was a cleaning lady because I would show up with my headscarf on, so I'll mess up my hair. You know how we do it. So, and I remember coming to an owner's meeting, and he said, well, what are you doing here? I said, I'm the owner of Power Solutions. He said, well, where's your husband? I said, I don't have a husband. And he said, well, who else owned it with you? I said, just me. And when I tell you that man, I thought he was going to faint, because I have worked I've worked at the airport. I've done so many major projects. They just assumed, a man was doing it. And predominantly all of my team only have 2 women that work with me, because we don't have enough women in the labor force anyway to do what we do. But to make a long story short, that's how I started my electrical business, and here we are. December 5th, I'll celebrate 22 years of my company. In 2019, and I want to show you this first slide. This is my picture of me. They featured in the New York Times. In 2020, I was featured in the New York Times, online and in print. And I was shocked because it was like the whole page. I thought it was going to be some other women, because it was Women's History Month. I thought it was going to be some more women. So when I was the whole page, that was a huge shock. And so just coming from the IBEW to celebrate my company anniversary, and because then it was like the 20th, yeah, and then to being in the New York Times, I was just like, it was everything. And even the same year I was in the New York Times in the fall, I was featured in Forbes Japan for launching my company in Singapore. And to be, just a Black girl from Mississippi growing up in a poor area, to coming this far, sometimes it's still surreal. I don't focus so much on it because I'm always thinking about how much further I got to go. I'm like Kobe, my head be in the next game. What I got to do, what I got to improve on. But it's still like surreal of everything that they put me through for me to still be here. And I can't tell you enough. It's nothing but God. I'm here. So I wanted to just show you my evolution as a journeyman and in my industry, being in the energy space. Less than 8% are Black. So is that I don't want to say tough, but is that bad? And but yeah. So the next one, the purpose of my company, which is your why. I've always thought bigger. And so my company provides digital automation, energy, and sustainable solutions for the world's most critical problems, which are energy, water, food, connectivity, and mobility. In 2019, the U.S. State Department sent me to the Netherlands to represent the United States for energy. And so those were the 5 problems that we were to work on, because all the countries agreed these are the most critical problems. And then I decided to set my goal to work in all those areas. And I still currently work with the Dutch as well, because they're big in sustainability, and they really inspired me during that time. So I wanted to just share with y'all like where I currently work now. Singapore, like I said, Kingdom of the Netherlands. I have clients in London, and I work up and down the East Coast, but also we do solar in California. But pretty much we go wherever they pay it. So that's why I say. And these are some of my clients. One of them Siemens is on here, but these are like my largest clients that and they're global clients. So that's why I'm able to go global. So in Singapore, Dell Technologies had jobs and opportunities there. So I was like, sign me up. I'm going. And I remember this guy was like, what you gonna do in Singapore? So I don't care if they don't do nothing to get me to put a plug in, but I'm gonna be there. And I'm gonna do it in Black excellence. That's what we do. And so to operate in an international market, I just onboarded with Restoration Hardware and with Norfolk Southern. I don't know if Norfolk Southern is like a huge railroad. The man told me, he's like, you're the first Black woman contractor that we have out here. And I hear that all the time, whether I'm in a nuclear plant, because I also work for the Southern Company. When I'm in a nuclear plant, wherever I go, you hear that. And but I'm hoping that will one day change soon. And I want to just also share with y'all some of my others. Next, I'm launching a platform called Handy Woman Pro. I don't know if you all have heard of like handy.com or like TaskRabbit, but they're all men. These are platforms where as individuals, you can sign up to sell your services, whether you're a handyman, a carpenter, landscaper, or whatever. But on those platforms, they push people to the top based on the number of sales that you have. And so women get lost in the sauce. So it's like, because we're mostly the caregivers and we do a lot more at home, we can't work as much or get as many sales as some of the other people. So I decided, I'm like, you know what, I'm creating a platform with nothing but women, handy women, and women that do different stuff. So there's nothing but us on there. And so people that want to hire women. So we launched that. Actually, it's like, it says the summer, but we're really going to launch in the spring. And I just came out with my own line of EV charging stations and my own solar services. So that's what She EV and She Solar stand for, Smart Home Energy. So now becoming a manufacturer of my own products, that's like the highlight of my latest highlight of my career, because that's like a major move, especially for a Black woman as well. And that's it. I just wanted to say thank you. And I don't know why this is off a little bit, but I'll share my contact information if anybody wants to get it. But I know leadership is one of y'all pillars, and I think throughout my entire career, I've always been a leader. I know some leaders are born, but you still have to cultivate that leadership. And so I try to spend time with other leaders. That's what being part of Leadership Atlanta is about. Because you wanna not just lead because you're in a position to lead. You want to lead from influence, where people are so inspired or so engaged or want to find out what you're doing. And I can truly say, being a leader is an honor, but it's a privilege. But it comes with a lot of responsibility. You lose the right to only consider yourself, because I have real people that need, I have to make payroll. I have to make sure that we're always advancing and doing stuff, and we're ahead of the curve. So we always have work. And just being a leader in your community, it's like you never know who's watching you. And you want to make sure that kids and your peers, and even people that are older than you, can always look to you for an example of something positive, of doing something major. I run with giants. I like running with giants. I like being with companies that are, or people that are farther than me, bigger than me, because it motivates me to want to do more. I'm still not where of course, my white male counterparts are, but I tell them all the time, I'm going to be ahead of them. I'm like, they're not going to see me coming. Most of the companies I compete against are in their 4th and 5th generation. And of course, I'm the first generation. And after I started my business, I became a millionaire in like 3 years. But nobody tells you that. Really don't mean anything other than to the IRS. It's like, if it's not in liquid, it's just that my company was my assets became worth $1 million, because I'm still working. If you look at Tyler Perry and Oprah, you see how they working, because it's a huge responsibility to be wealthy, and you have to be a great manager of your wealth. You can't. It's a myth being an entrepreneur that you can do what you want to do. No, you can't do what you want to do. And the good thing is I get to do it how I want to do it. So I still feel like I work for, not only for my clients, I answer to them. I answer to whatever jurisdiction we're working in. I answer to the IRS. I can't stress that enough, because once you start making a lot of money, it's real. That was just the biggest thing for me. It's like, we just gonna really get them 25%. It's like, it's like that. And so I want to encourage y'all to really consider going into renewable, and just going into the energy space. Right now, they have the IRA that just passed. It's the Inflation Reduction Act, but they're encouraging people to come into the energy space. The Department of Energy is actually hiring. And I'm going to tell y'all, this is not as hard as people think it is. And we need everybody. I don't care if you're in marketing, I don't care what your major is. We need you to come into this space. We need more Black people. We need more women to come into this space. And if there's anything that I can do to assist y'all, please let me know. My Women Do Everything company, we have a summit and a career expo at it's going to be, we're postponing to the end of March. But if you go to womendoeverything.com, you can come to that, and we don't discriminate. You're a man, you come to. So we don't discriminate. It's just y'all ain't running nothing over there. This is the women thing. So, but you can come. So we have men that come and get knowledge and information from us all the time. And I hope I didn't go too fast. I can't remember what time I'm supposed to end.
You did great, Ms. Hicks. You did great. Thank you. Thank you so much. You gave us so much information, and I'm sure there are some questions brewing. I was jotting feverishly. I was writing notes and putting down questions, and every time I put down a question, you answered it. So great job. So let me also thank TJ and Tatiana for participating, our bright, gifted students for participating today. I'm going to ask our audience to put your questions in the chat. If you have questions for Ms. Hicks or reactions or reflections to what she shared with us today, please put those in the chat, and I'll do my best to get to them. I'll ask DK, our production manager, to help us field those questions to give to you today. Let me also congratulate you. You obviously are a trailblazer, Ms. Hicks. You are a trailblazer. You are an innovator, and so glad to know you. And I want to talk to you some more about how Clinton College can tap into that Black magic you got over there, that Black woman magic, and how some of our students can get more information from you. Let me start off by asking you a couple of questions. I was really struck by what your grandmother said to you after somebody told you you couldn't do it. When your grandmother said, "Women do everything," I can imagine that be life-changing. Say a little bit more about what that statement means to you, because you've attached it to sort of the theme of your business, women do everything. What did that mean to you when your grandmother said that?
Oh, it meant a lot. You know, I'm a grandmama baby. So you know, when grandmama say something, you know, you can take it to the bank. It's like, so when she told me that, it really inspired me. But she also elaborated on it a little bit by talking about during World War II, how when all the men left, all the women went into the factories. And she talked about the Rose of the Riveters. But she also talked about how the Black women, they didn't feature us in what we did. But once the men came back, they all had to go back home. No matter what skills they had earned, all those jobs were considered men's jobs, so they had to go back home. And that's why she was like, you know, we've always done, from the civil rights movement, it was always women leading and initiating everything going on. And so she said, we just never got the credit or were able to make the money, because during her era, you know, not until the 70s could a woman even have a loan in her name. You know, so, you know, during my grandma's era, it's like women couldn't do anything without a man's signature on it, whether it's your husband or your father.
Good. Yeah, that's powerful. We do have a question in the chat. DK, you want to put that question up? Did your naysayers see you in the New York Times, and how did they respond?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it was also like it was kind of overshadowed a little bit because it was the beginning of the pandemic. When I was in New York and it came out, because I actually kind of forgot about it. Because, you know, I do so many interviews. Like, I've been on NPR like 4 times, PBS. I do so much. So you never know when they're going to put it out. And so I was at I was with Tory Burch. I know a lot of people know Tory Burch. I was at her event. She invited me to, and I was sitting there, and I got all these alerts on the phone. And so, but also the pandemic is like March the 6th. So the pandemic was starting. I was supposed to go to Harvard to speak at Harvard. And then Harvard was like, no, we're shutting the school down. So it was a little overshadowed by that. But yeah, they saw it. They don't really say a whole lot. And I'm going to tell you, it's always like that. They might not say anything, but they taking notes. And they see you. And how I knew I became a giant is when a giant started fighting me. So when a big company starts fighting you, oh, they see you. Because most giants, they don't see nothing but other giants and their goals. But once they start recognizing that you coming up, they do whatever they can to try to put you out the game. And that's the usual thing that they do, is they can't put you out there, try to wear you out. But I think they pretty much know by now. They just kind of leave me alone now.
Yeah. So before we get to another question in the chat, I wanted to ask you about the space that you're in. You're obviously a game changer in your own right in what you're doing, but there's a system that you're fighting against. And can you talk a little bit about how you have tried or are working towards changing the system to make it more equitable and more parity for everyone, Black, white, transgendered? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's my mission of my Women Do Everything company. We help women get into male-dominated industries to help them make more money. So not just construction or energy, we also do transportation, manufacturing. It's several other industries that we do. And that's my piece of it, because it's like Power Solutions is what I was trained to do. I really feel like Women Do Everything is what I was called to do, because that's who I am. It's like I know what it is to be a single mom. My oldest son was 6 years old when I started my company. So that's all my kids, that's all my sons know. And actually, my youngest son, I have two sons. My 16-year-old, he actually inspired the product line because he told me we don't have enough passive income. And that he was looking at everything and we need to come out with some products. And I was like, product? At first I didn't think about I couldn't think about what we were gonna do, but so my youngest son, to make a long story short, inspired this latest line. And my youngest son, he's going to college to be an engineer. And so my oldest son is already an entrepreneur in the entertainment industry. And it's I don't know, it's one of them things. You do what's in your heart.
Yes.
And I think God put this in my heart. If you do something naturally, that's what he put in you to do. And so to me, it doesn't seem like work. Every day I'm excited. I mean, people like, you're always excited, because it's like I'm living my dreams. And even on my worst day, I'm blessed. Yeah. And if I feel like, because I've lost a lot. I mean, from the recession, the Great Recession, to the pandemic, I lost so much money. But it's like, if you do it one time, you can get it. I feel like I can get it back again. So it's kind of, I don't know. I don't want to say it's an advantage, but you can use growing up poor or growing up without a lot, to your advantage. It's like, I think Deion Sanders the other day, I don't need motivation.
Right.
It's like what I seen my mama go through, and what I see our people go through is motivation. So yes, I do. Women Do Everything is multicultural, but it's not lost on me that as Black women, we still make less than everyone.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think we have another question in the chat, DK. From Tiffany, what are your thoughts on minority women in the workforce today? And do you think things have changed much?
That's so funny. When I remember when Hidden Figures came out, The only thing that's changed is that we use the same bathroom.
Wow.
That's the only, and it's so fun. It was like, well, then wait a minute, that's me. Just in 2018, I was had this project. It was like a $4.78 million project. I had men working, different subcontractors under me. We walked the job on the first day. When I showed up, I spoke to everybody. The white man did not speak to me. But we walked the whole job, looked at everything. So before we left, I told him, I said, well, next week in our weekly meeting, we're going to work on our communication skills and professionalism. And the white man said, why would we do that? I said, well, I say in the most humble way possible, but you work for me. This is my job.
Good for
and
you.
they were like, oh my God.
Good for you.
So you still have to, so I feel like we have to me, a very high earning potential. Today, because of the lack of skilled labor, they need us like they needed us in World War II. So it's like, that's why you see all these women programs and all this stuff. It's because they need us. But the difference now is we're not going back home. And you got to pay us what you're going to pay men. So, but yeah, I think it's a lot of potential, but we still have to band together. That's why Creative Women Do Everything. You still have to lean on each other in order to support each other to make it through some of the tougher roles in this industry. But I think it's wide open for us. I love the fearlessness of some of my young mentees and people that are women in college. It's like, I think it's time, and the opportunity is here. But you got to be brave enough to go and hungry enough to stay.
That's good. So picking up on that mentee piece, because I'm thinking about our students who are watching, right? So we have students who are traditional age. I mean, I heard your story at Central State. It seems like the light went off for you while you had a good HBCU in Wilberforce, Ohio.
Yes.
What advice could you give to our students of all ages about how they can get on this path toward entrepreneurship? Because you're on to something. I believe that many colleges kind of train students to take a job rather than teach and empower them to own the business. So how do students begin to get on that path to be as successful as you are?
Well, I think one thing is recognize that you're already a brand. It's like when you're on social media and people are following you, you're already an influencer. I don't care how many followers you have. People follow you for a reason. People look at you for a reason. People connect to you for a reason. And I think first recognizing that no matter where I go, I got to represent, because that's how I am about my sons. It's like, you got to represent the family. You not just, and my family, even in Mississippi, about that. Don't be out there embarrassing the family. I heard that my whole life. But I even tell my sons that it's like, we represent something bigger, and especially now being on the international and even national stage. I try to, as a Black woman, I try to represent the best of us. And you got to think about that as a student, and just be open, be creative, spend time. Don't spend so much time being a consumer. And when you're sitting on YouTube or you sitting on TikTok or whatever, recognize that people are making money. They making money off of you. You want to be a creator. You want to be, you don't even have to be an innovator. There's nothing new under the sun for real. It's like, look at things that you can do differently and always have a side hustle. Being in Atlanta was the best for me because of the rich culture here with Black people here. And it's like we built a little different. Everybody in Atlanta got 2-3 side hustles, so it's just kind of the environment here. But you always gonna want to, whether you making cakes, whatever you can do to make money and make yourself marketable. It's like if you want to work for a certain company, you want to show them why should they hire you? You know, not just because they need somebody. And when you're there, you want to put your points on the board. That's what men taught me how to do. A lot of the times women put out fires and don't nobody know what they did, and they wanted to get a promotion, but don't nobody know what you've done to even deserve it. So when you do something, I don't care if people calling it bragging or not. Do it like Kobe. Put your points on the board.
That's good.
Let people know, hey, I did this, did that. Don't worry about what people saying, and don't reduce yourself to make other people feel comfortable. So I think being an entrepreneur is tough. I mean, every day it's like being on a roller coaster. But you get to decide how you ride. You're gonna be either be crying or screaming, or you're gonna be enjoying yourself. And I choose to enjoy myself.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and we tell our students all the time, we're talking more and more to them about building your resume, right? And often, and I was like that as a student, I thought a resume was just a piece of paper with a list of accomplishments, but your resume is your total experiences. And you need to build that resume so that you see how valuable you are to the people who need what you have. So,
and don't just build it on paper.
That's right.
Put it on LinkedIn.
There you go.
Attract companies or whatever. Put it on LinkedIn and put it on Twitter. And also, like any social media platform that you on, post your stuff. It's like, I mean, even my mentees, they help me a lot with that because I'm always running. They be like, nah, Miss Tanya, you got to put that up there. And that's the thing. You want to be around people like where you want to go.
That's right.
Look, always be evaluating your circle. People on something, doing something, you got. And I tell my sons, I am the cup. My sons are the saucer. And as my cup overflows, they'll receive if they're in position.
That's right.
And that's the same with y'all. It's like, I mean, I'm 50 now. It's like we got to recognize that we got to help. I try to help everybody I can coming. So even though my time is now, I want to prepare you for you coming and doing whatever you want to do. So, like I said, please, y'all reach out to me if y'all need anything. Like I said, if I don't answer at first, I'll be, take time because I get messages from all over the world. So, but I will respond.
That's great. Thank you for that. Can we find you on LinkedIn?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm on LinkedIn. Tanya Hicks on LinkedIn,
Awesome.
and I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is She Do Everything.
She do everything.
Yeah, she do. Yeah, because I'm always I cook a lot, so I'm always baking biscuits. I show everybody how to cook. Yeah, and so that's my little thing.
All right, good. Well, I'm going to encourage our students to follow you on your social media handles and connect with you. I would love for us to follow back up. I'm hoping that our director of our work program, Ms. Hayes, is watching. I'd love for her to be in touch with you. We are a work college, which means that our residential students are going to be required to be in an internship or an externship of some type on their way toward their careers. So I would love to connect to you and what you're doing and giving some of our students. And I'm assuming you'd take some male students too.
Oh, well, because I mostly don't have to tell men. Because they go attach themselves to you anyway. Hey, this time, can you help me do this? So,
no,
yeah.
listen, we got some brothers that are a little passive. We got to push them a little bit. When you get them in some areas, they're really aggressive, but in others, they may, so I think it's important for them to be around. And I have benefited from being around strong women, right?
Oh.
It's not just my male mentors. There's some female mentors that have meant a lot to me. So if you were open to it, I would love to have, some brothers reach out to you as well.
Oh, exactly. And like I said, we all we got for real.
That's right.
Like we have to help each other.
Yeah.
And so I would love to, spend some time and come there. And even if we can do some workshops or something for some of your students you want to do an internship. I have so many powerful people I'm connected to. My sponsors for Women Do Everything are Delta, UPS, Staples, and Bank of America. Okay. So if y'all want to work any of them places, right, I can help y'all get on. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Ms. Hicks, thank you so much. You have given us a wealth of information. I mean, invaluable information, and just being connected to you is worth everything. So thank you for the work that you continue to do. Thank you for being an example to our sisters, for what you are doing. You really are a trailblazer, and I thank you. And as I say to all of our guest speakers, You're now a part of the family. So you have a standing invitation. We want you to come back. And as you mentioned, we do want you to come in person. We'd love to have you on our campus and host you here in Rock Hill. Thank all of our guests for being with us today in this virtual environment. We're so glad to have so many supporters in Forum, where we bring the best, those who are relevant to what's going on in our world and what certainly impacts our students. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Brown, our Vice President for Student Success, for announcements, and then we'll come back with the closing prayer and alma mater.
Thank you. Thank you, Prez. And thank you, Ms. Hicks, for, again, just a wonderful experience in wisdom and sharing your knowledge and life experience with us. I know our students were blessed today. So just a few announcements. Today, Know What Wednesday will be in the Student Center at 4 o'clock. Tomorrow, we will have a food truck on campus. Around the Way Food Truck is the name of it, Round the Way Eatery. They'll be on campus from 2 to 5. Ms. Blair has limited, and when I say limited, tickets left to give out to our students. So you'll have to locate Ms. Blair to get those remaining tickets. Friday, October 21st, Just Kicking It with Ms. Blair at 6 p.m. You'll share your ideas of different activities that you may have to implement on campus. So we hope to get your feedback on that. Saturday, October 22nd, that is our first men's home basketball game. And to those of you all that came out to Midnight Madness, you know you are in for a treat this season with our men and women's basketball teams. So mark that on your calendar. Saturday, October 22nd, 4 o'clock p.m., our men's team will playing their first home game. Also on Saturday morning, Fitness Day in the Park, which will be from 10 to 1 at the Transformation Center right up the street on Saluda. So again, we want to say thank you to our guests. We encourage our guests and our Clinton College family to join in on all the activities that we have planned for you. I'm going to turn it over now to our president, Dr. McCorn, to lead us in our closing prayer.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. And again, thank you all for joining us today. I'm just so proud of our Clinton family, especially our athletes. Last night, we had a great celebration with Midnight Madness, and we got our new hardware. Pretty soon, I'm going to have ring for every finger with these men's and women's basketball teams and the volleyball team. Congratulations, Lady Bears, for winning last night. And we got word that they're on their way to the regional playoffs in Florida. So we're so excited about their progress. And thank you all for supporting our Golden Bears. Let us now go to God in prayer. Eternal God, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you have granted us. Thank you for continuing to keep your hand upon Clinton College, our students, our staff, our faculty, our administration. Thank you for Ms. Hicks, and continue to bless her in the work that she is doing. And thank you for the inspiration for all of us to be entrepreneurs in whatever field that we are in. We believe that you are a God of opportunity and possibility, and you desire for us to prosper in every way. So continue to open these avenues in our minds and our spirits to embrace what you have in store for us. Now, God, may your word be a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Guide us in the path of righteousness for your name's sake, as we continue to lift the light high, that men and women will see our good works and glorify our God who is in heaven. These and all blessings we ask in your name, and for your sake we pray. Amen.
Take When we enter the gates, then may our classes take. We pledge allegiance to